when we experience something traumatic, we immediately spiral downward. Hello, 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 Transurfer and the Transurfing curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, it's been a little while since I've done one of these styles of lessons, and I'm excited to do this one because it's a doozy. It's something that has come to me, some pretty valuable insight that I hope you will benefit from, especially if you're going through something traumatic. This is going to be spoken about, or I'm going to relay these insights to you from the standpoint of being traumatized, being re-traumatized, not being able to forget about past trauma, experiencing some, major, undesirable event in your reality right now. But it can also work if you're just experiencing maybe an abnormal amount of stress, or something else in your reality seems to be off balance suddenly. It's kind of magical, really, and I'm a little bit blown away that everything that has happened for me in the last month has culminated into these exact insights. And I don't really know if it was the chicken or the egg first, but I had a moment the other day where I realized that I was functioning at a much higher level than I normally do. And my level that I usually function at is already pretty high. I'm a very productive person. I've got my pendulums managed. I don't have a lot of distractions in my reality. I sort of just, as some of you may know, if you remember that video where I showed the pie chart of my day's pretty much split up into two different segments: doing all my creative projects and self-care. That's pretty much it. So I'm already functioning at a pretty high level, but I acknowledged the other day that I have again leveled up. I'm getting more done. My thoughts seem to be more focused and clear and directed towards my intention. I'm having a really profound feeling of very clean burning energy. And I think to myself, what's happened? Why has this happened? What has transpired? What has shifted? What's gone down in my layer of reality that would allow me this leveling up? And the only thing that I could really put my finger on was the fact that I recently felt sort of re-traumatized by some old family issues. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, okay, so this is the only profound thing that has shifted in my reality. And it did seem to me that all the growth started to occur right after this kind of upheaval of emotions and feeling a little re-traumatized. I had a couple of nights where I didn't sleep so well. I had some feelings of grief and mourning and loss and self-pity and all that kind of stuff. But I snapped out of it. I see myself. I see my reality. I contacted a therapist and had a nice sit-down meeting with him and discussed with him all of the challenges that I was going through. And it just kind of spiraled up after this event. So Xavier Waterkane and I kick into creating a couple of new courses, one of them being Transurfing Trauma and the other being the 30 Anomalous Action Challenge, which is every day for 30 days, you take a step outside of your zone of comfort. So I really start to pull all of these different pieces together, the different courses, my experience, the sensations of leveling up. And I really had this aha moment that It doesn't have to be post-traumatic stress. It can be post-traumatic growth. And I came up with a whole little theory of exactly why I have experienced such growth in a short amount of time after sort of being re-traumatized, and how you can take any undesirable event in your current layer of reality and turn it into the same. And it's kind of amazing, actually. So before I get into it, remember to like this video and comment and question below, subscribe to this channel, join us on the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group, follow me on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm everywhere, y'all. And courses, links below, all the links you could ever desire are all below. And also check out all our awesome shirts. This one's kind of a little sporty for me, and it's not really the right cut. It's probably my least favorite, but there are a lot of really cool designs on there, so definitely check them out if you are in search of some new apparel. They've got some hoodies for winter, etc. So I will get right into it. First, the place that I would like to start is talking about anomalous action. We're talking about your, as Xavier puts it, your reality rut, right? This is your well-worn groove that is your current layer of reality. This is your experience of reality. This is you waking up, having the same routine, you know, going through your day, same routine, being exposed to the same information, the same sounds, the same, you know, you're seeing the same stuff, you're encountering the same people. You're not being exposed to a lot of new information and material. So when you take the 30 Anomalous Action Challenge, what it is you're doing is you're like shaking it up, right? You're shaking up your reality so you become exposed to new information, material, events, opportunities. And if you are in a place of awareness, you can see all this stuff, then you have the ability to move on some new things and take new direction, right? Go in a new direction. So this is doing this in a positive way. This is you initiating change in your reality via anomalous action. Now, here's the insight that I gained. Sometimes when you experience something that can be deemed traumatic, right? Let's say your husband files for divorce, or you lose a child, or you get sick, or you lose your job, or something really big and significant happens in your layer of reality suddenly, right? I mean, it could also be not so sudden, but usually it's like a shocking event or something that just kind of like appears and sort of rattles you, right? Sort of rattles you. So this event, this divorce, loss, whatever it is that would typically be perceived as being traumatic, has virtually the same effect in our reality as you shaking it up intentionally with anomalous action. So what happens here is getting to my model. I hope you guys can all see that. Maybe Ab could zoom in a little bit. So what happens here is, let's say you're kind of like in the middle of reality, right? And for those of you that are unfamiliar with the model of reality that I like to use for myself, I say to myself, at any given day, I have 10 different levels or layers of reality that I have access to, right? The bottom one being the worst. This is me feeling depressed, anxiety, meaninglessness. I don't really like my life. I'm not feeling inspired. Things aren't going well. This is me focusing on the negative. This is me not feeling good. Then the top layer of reality is me getting everything that I want. This is me on the wave of fortune. This is me feeling happy. This is me feeling like I have purpose. This is me doing all the things that I want, having all the things that I want, being all the things that I want. But usually for most people, we're kind of like in this space here, right? Middle ground. Sometimes we're a little bit up and sometimes we're a little bit down. I was probably a little bit higher than this when this re-traumatizing occurred. I was probably up right about here, but it doesn't really matter where you at. The same sort of idea can be applied to wherever you are in your layer of reality. So you encounter the anomalous trauma, right? Divorce, loss, something that brings you pain. And again, this disrupts your layer of reality. It also disrupts your frequency. So it's almost like you hit the reset button, or reality hit the reset button on you, right? You're like, you don't know up from down. Your thoughts are different. Your sensations are different. Your feelings are different. Your emotions are different. You may be focusing on some other part of reality that you haven't been focusing on. Maybe you're searching for a new home or searching for a new job, or husband that you're getting divorced from is moving out, and suddenly your reality is kind of like turned upside down. So when this happens, you are, I don't want to say susceptible, but if we gear it towards the negative and what usually happens after a traumatic event, I will say susceptible, right? So let's use the example of divorce or some sort of loss. You're susceptible because you don't know up from down. You're off balance with your emotion. Everything's kind of up in the air. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe there's doubt or uncertainty or whatever. So after an event happens like this, I believe that it is in our programming, and I don't know where the programming necessarily comes from, if it's nature or nurture, but it's in our programming to then focus on the negative, right? Oh my God, I just got a divorce, or I'm going through a divorce. Oh my God, I just experienced this mega loss. Oh my God, I'm in pain, right? So suddenly you're like, in a pretty exaggerated way, you're tuning to the channel of divorce, loss, pain, anguish, whatever. You're focusing on that stuff because that event that ignited this upheaval in your state of being and your reality can be associated with all the negative stuff. So that's why oftentimes when we experience something traumatic, we immediately spiral downward, right? You're just attaching yourself to like emotions, like states of being, like information. And of course, this is kind of just what we accept, like how it is, right? So here's the thing. When this reset occurs, when you experience divorce, loss, something painful, something traumatizing, you have just as much of an ability to do the inverted motion upward, which is going to some of the higher lifelines, because as Vadim Zeland states in both Transurfing and in Tufty, nothing is either good or bad. Every single event has elements of both, period. Every single event, everything that transpires in our lives, everything we encounter, it all has elements of both good and bad. It is up to us to determine what it is that we want to pull from that situation, event, or circumstance. So for me, what happened, I went into this this very sudden upheaval of emotion, perspective, all these different things seemed up in the air. And I will admit, for a brief moment, I went into self-pity and doubt and remorse and grief and all that kind of stuff. But I caught myself very, very quickly. I see myself, I see my reality. And I decided that I was going to use the situation as a springboard, right? I was going to like bounce off of that lifeline that trauma had taken me to. And it really did work. It really, really did work. So for me, what I chose to focus on is things like lightness, right? I have less to worry about now that I am detaching even more so from toxic people in my life. I have a new beginning, right? I have more free time. I don't have to deal with people and their drama. I can assess my reality, reassess my reality, what it is that I want, what it is that's valuable to me, what type of life I want to live, what I want in my layer of reality, what I don't want in my layer of reality. I dive into self-care because this is the mode that I go into when I'm in pain, right? And when you are in an active state of self-caring in an extreme sort of way, this message is sent to your mirror. I love myself, right? Therefore, my world begins to show me more love in turn. I reconnect with my feelings of power. I don't have to deal with this shit. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to deal with anything that I don't want in my layer of reality, right? This is me really owning my choices, my state of being. What I am deciding is going to be in my layer of reality and what has got to go. New movement, right? New movement. This came in the form of like, okay, so this thing's happened and I can't necessarily just transurf my way out of it. So I'm going to hire a professional and I'm going to talk to a therapist and go over some coping skills and some ways to reframe the situation and what to do when the situation plops back into my layer of reality and causes more disruption and all that kind of stuff. Me being proactive, right? It's me moving in my layer of reality. It is positive disruption. So this is kind of where it's at. And I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this whole idea of being reset by something undesirable in your layer of reality and using that opportunity to springboard yourself, focus on all these positive attributes of what has transpired and how it can apply to virtually any situation, right? Any situation. So this is, I know, classic advantage. This is exactly what Vadim Zeland is talking about in the book. Whatever you deem to be an advantage will be an advantage. And training yourself to go there when you are in a state of feeling as though you don't know up from down, shit's topsy-turvy, you're emotional, you're having to reassess your standing in your current layer of reality. It's like a massive wake-up call, right? It's like a massive wake-up call. And really looking back on my life in the last, I would say 10 years, I can very much see that there were extreme bursts of growth after traumatic experiences, like when I had the allergic reaction to the medication that sent me to the hospital right before I found Reality Transurfing. This was huge. This was quite possibly the most significant event that ever happened in my life. And everything that transpired after this event has brought me to where I am now, a completely new reality, and probably would not have happened without this event, right? This event was the catalyst for some extreme growth. So what I'm going to close with is this. What are you currently experiencing that is like, in your mind, undesirable, right? What are you what is catching you up, and you're either feeling sorry for yourself, you're stressed out, you don't feel well, you feel at some disadvantage, maybe you're injured, maybe you're in physical pain, maybe you're going through confusion, shock, grief, anger, disbelief, mourning, etc. Like, how can you take what it is you are currently experiencing, the state of being that you're currently in, probably down here somewhere, because of something that's transpired, undesirable in your layer of reality, and how can you apply, sorry guys, my voice is a little bit raw today, how can you apply what I'm talking about to springboard yourself up and experience some post-traumatic growth? I love it. I love it because I feel as though from here on out, anytime something plays out in my reality, I'm going to have this perspective as my backup, right? It's kind of like my insurance policy. How am I going to reap the benefit from trauma? So let me know your thoughts on this one, everybody. I know it's a little bit dark. I'm hoping it will help people. I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts. And I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.